Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you tonight as the Mets close out their day-night doubleheader and a 4-game series against the Colorado Rockies. The Mets going for a 4-game sweep and trying for their 6th in a row after a 7-0 win this afternoon behind the left arm of Johan Santana.
Well, Santana was just outstanding in this afternoon's game. He struck out 8. He had everything working from the first hitter he faced, Derek Fowler, and then after that really was hitting the corners. Had one inning where he had the bases loaded and was able to get out of it, but other than that, continued a great mastery of pitching that these Mets pitchers have exhibited the past few games.
And they scored 5 runs at the second inning, did the Mets, capped by an unlikely source.
Well, they had 3 singles and 2 doubles in that inning. This double by Baroa, only his 2nd hit for the Mets so far since being called up, but it was a great inning. Like we said, 5 hits in a row, 6 hits total, 5 runs and a crooked number in that game. We really gave the breathing room to Santana.
So the Mets are clicking right now. Their offense certainly is in high gear, but the starting pitching has been good almost every day, including the first start back from the minor leagues by Jonathan Nice Saturday in Houston that got this winning streak started, and Nice goes back to the mound tonight.
You know, he only gave up a run in 7 innings pitched, and the great thing about Jonathan, other than some first inning jitters, is after that he really controlled himself, threw strikes, went right off to the hitters, and I think he's going to have to be on top of his game because he's facing Jorge De La Rosa, who has won 8 games since June 1st, 7 in a row, and even though he has struggled mostly in his career coming up with Milwaukee and other teams, he now seems to be on top of his game, throwing strikes, going after the hitters, and he's one of the big reasons that Colorado has gotten back in this wild card race.
2 left-handers who've had very similar seasons. Nice started out 0-6 at Buffalo. De La Rosa started out 0-6 with the Rockies. Both are red hot right now. Mets and Rockies. Mets trying to win their 6th in a row. All the action on SNY. Free with IOTV. By Rogue's Thriller, A Perfect Getaway in theaters August 7th. By Geico. By AT&T. By Lexus. And by the Rums of Puerto Rico, inviting you to enjoy the finest rums of the world. Follow the Mets on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com At-Bat 2009, featuring play-by-play video highlights and live audio broadcasts. Visit Mets.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase. Here's your Jeep around the majors from this afternoon as we move toward the trading deadline. David Ortiz named by the New York Times as one of the 103 in the 2003 steroid report. Hits a 3-run homer today as the Red Sox beat the A's 8-5. 10th win of the season for Giovanni Gallardo as the Brewers outlasted the Nats today. And Kosuke Fukudomi 3 for 3 home run by Milton Bradley, and the Cubs beat the Astros 12-3. The Cubs now just a half game out in the wild card race.
Hampton gave up 9 earned runs in that loss to the Cubs. Ryan Zimmerman with his 19th home run in that game against Gallardo and the Brewers. And Ortiz also had a double to go along with that 3-run home run.
Well, the kids are getting ready, and so are the big kids. Second half of the day-night doubleheader coming up. First pitch on the way. Doesn't matter whether they play at Shea or at Citi Field, the Rockies can't seem to win either place. The Mets have beaten the Rockies now 21 of the last 23 that they've played in Flushing. And since they've been shut out now for 22 straight innings, Jim Tracy changes the program a little bit. Seth Smith goes to the leadoff spot. Troy Tulowitzki into the cleanup position. And Yorvit Torrealba gets his first start of the series for the Rockies, who are trying to avoid a 4-game sweep.
You know, one of my favorite things to do is watch these young pitchers as they go back and forth from the minor leagues to the big leagues and see how their confidence grows. Jonathan Neese, who went back down after having a couple tough outings, looked fantastic in his last start against Houston as his confidence seems to be rising. Defensively behind Neese tonight, Lexus Mets defense. See that thing on Murphy, about 9 double plays he has started at first base, including one in that first game. Tatis in left field, Pagan in front court. Right, Baroa, Castillo, Murphy. Baroa with that big hit back in the lineup. And Santos, double duty, catching both games.
First time that Jerry has appreciably changed the lineup since this winning streak began. Corey Sullivan sitting, Fernando Tatis playing in left field, Alex Cora sitting. But with a doubleheader today, he didn't want to wear people out. And with a left-hander going for the Rockies, it was a time to get Tatis into the lineup. So Jerry trying to keep this thing going before the Diamondbacks get here for 4 games starting tomorrow night. Seth Smith leads it off, and the first pitch from Neese in for a call strike. Smith 1 for 4 in this series, hitting at .292, a very respectable .395 on base percentage, which lends itself to hitting leadoff. And he takes a strike, and it's 0-2. John Neese, 7 terrific innings against the Astros in his last start. Clint Barmes, who sat out the first game today, waiting on deck. And it's lined the other way, a base hit for Smith. So on an 0-2 pitch, Seth Smith takes the fastball the other way and gets the Rockies started.
Well, this is a pitch you don't like to see from a young pitcher, but it will happen. 0-2 pitch, tried to go away and add a little something. Caught too much of the plate. Nice job by Smith hitting with 2 strikes.
So here is Barmes, who has been in a big-time struggle. He did hit a home run in the opening game of the series. In fact, that's the last run the Rockies scored. A 5th-inning home run on Monday night. They've gone 22 innings since without a run. Barmes now 1 for his last 27. That one being that Monday home run. Popped up in foul ground. Murphy hoping for a play. Gets over on the warning track to grab it. And there's the first down of the night. So 1 out and 1 on.
Murph has shown a lot of quickness and confidence going back on that baseball.
He is a completely different player than he was when he was stationed out in left field.
You know, a lot of times a certain player's personality, as Todd Helton comes to the plate, he is a high energy kind of guy. And I think being involved or seemingly involved in every play as opposed to the outfield has really helped him. Also, he's an over analytical hitter. And when you're in the outfield, you spend a lot of time thinking about your hitting and not your defense.
See a lot of guys in the outfield sometimes working on their stroke when they should be concentrating on the game.
Paul O'Neill like.
Here's Todd Helton, 3 for 7 in this series. And he takes a first pitch strike, so Nice is throwing nothing but strikes early on.
And I think that's key. Is the first time through the lineup, he will really be given that first pitch strike because all the hitters from Colorado want to take a peek at him.
Neeson is starting in Houston, walked 2 in the first inning and was clearly a little nervous. And it took him that first inning to settle in. But here from the start, he has looked as though he is very calm. This is his 4th start of the season. He had 2 outings for the Mets in early May. Went back to the minors, struggled mightily down there, and was 0-6 for Buffalo before he turned his season around. Line to left field. This one will hang up for Tatis. And there are 2 away.
Fernando has been in the outfield for a while, so he kind of forgot how many outs there were there. Almost ran that ball all the way into second base.
Still early in the game to be forgetting how many outs there are.
He's just so excited. The last time he was up, Gary, he hit a grand slam home run. Can't wait to get to the plate.
So here's Troy Tulowitzki, moved up into the cleanup spot after going 5 for 9 in the first 3 games of this series with a double and a home run. Tulowitzki's been on fire for the better part of 2 months now. And right now, he's the most dangerous hitter in that Colorado lineup. Tulowitzki with 19 home runs, 48 runs driven in.
Defense here, pretty deep for Tulowitzki and should be. 19 home runs.
So Castillo shading toward the bag at second, opening up a big hole on the right side.
There's Tatis in left field.
First game he started since last Saturday in Houston. And Tulowitzki punches one toward shallow right. Castillo with a beautiful grab. Well, Castillo, who earlier today was attending the birth of his daughter, Adonai, makes a gorgeous grab in her honor for the 3rd out here in the top of the 1st. Mets come to bat with no Back in the lineup after missing the afternoon game today. Omir Santos catching both ends of the doubleheader, and Angel Baroa off the good game in the afternoon contest, starting at short again tonight. Daniel Murphy moved out of the cleanup spot against the left-hander, the red-hot Jorge De La Rosa.
The Mexican left-hander has pitched for Milwaukee, Kansas City, now here in Colorado. He's always had outstanding stuff, has never been able to put it together. Started the season 0-6, but now has won 7 straight, 8 games since June 1st, and has 4 pitches: fastball, curveball, slider, and change.
Angel Pagan 3 for 12 in the series, had a triple in the afternoon game, his 5th triple in just 109 at bats this season. That's an incredible rate. Angel hitting at .303. Batting from his slightly weaker side. He's a bit of a better left-hand hitter than right. And he pops one up in foul ground. Too far for Helton. 0-2 to Pagan. It'll be Pagan, then Castillo in right for the Mets in the opening inning. It's been quite a day for Louis, don't you think? Not too many guys attend the birth of their daughter in the morning and show up for the game that night. Not these days. Now De La Rosa with the 0-2, and the breaking ball. Did he go? They check it first, and no swing, says Charlie Relaford. 1-2 to Pagan.
Well, it's going to be interesting for you fans to watch both these young left-handers. De La Rosa has a big sweeping curveball, and of course Nice's best pitch is that overhand curveball. That big slow windup, and he misses inside. 2-2. That's a good pitch there, that little cutter slider inside. And Pagan takes it in the dirt, and so after De La Rosa got ahead 0-2, Angel works it full, and that's kind of the way things have been going for Angel Pagan. He's become a much more patient hitter over this stretch where he's batted leadoff for the Mets. Work deep counts, often has led off games with hits. 3-2 to him here, and he lines one into center field for a base hit. Chased toward the gap by Spilborghs. He's going to try for 2. Here comes the throw by Spilborghs, and Pagan in, sliding with a double. Hustle double for Angel Pagan, his 6th of the year. Well, you'll love to see this. They're playing him to right field, shading him the other way. And of course, he beats that shade with the ball to left center. What you got to like about the center fielder going that way as a throw, it's crossed his body with that great speed from Pagan. Just gets right underneath that tag by Barnes. And Jim Tracy resting his regular center fielder Dexter Fowler in the nightcap. Fowler's faster than Spilborghs, wouldn't have had to take that deep an angle to the ball, might have prevented the double. Better arm too. So let's see if Castillo's up there bunting. He's been red hot with the bat, and he does square and takes ball 1. Castillo over the last 17 games hitting .448 to raise his season average to .306, and you see 5-game hitting streak even better, 10 for 18. Helton really aggressive at first base with the charge. Third baseman staying in his position. Remember, De La Rosa has a little problem throwing to bases. And taking off is Pagan. The throw by Torrealba, not in time. Pagan almost came off the bag, but he has his 7th stolen base without being caught. And you have to blame this on the pitcher. Totally fell asleep, took his time going to the plate. Torrealba has no chance. And nice job by Pagan, recognizing the situation, being aggressive, all these little things that the Mets are doing. And part of the Mets' game plan in this game is to run as often as possible against De La Rosa and Torrealba. Torrealba's thrown out only 4 out of 28 this year. Infield back at second and short, and Castillo skips out of the way. It's 3-0. And with De La Rosa on the mound, opposing base stealers are now 13 out of 14 this year. So clearly that's an issue for them. Does not have a good move, and when he lifts that leg, he doesn't have the ability to make that adjustment and throw to first. Almost invariably comes home all the time. Well, we talked about how slow his windup is, and sometimes it's hard to go faster when you're out of the stretch. And Castillo walks on 4 pitches, so the Mets have runners at the corners and nobody out. David Wright coming up.
So a chance to do some damage early against De La Rosa.
Well, that was interesting to see, and I'm sure Bob Apodaca not too happy. The pitching coach of Colorado really aimed that baseball 3-0 against Luis Castillo.
De La Rosa has been magical in the first inning since becoming a starter with the Rockies. That's amazing. Only 3 first-inning runs in his last 26 starts. So the Mets with a chance to turn that around. David Wright 5 for 9 in this series, drove in a couple of runs in the first game today to take over 5th place on the all-time Met RBI list from Edgardo Alfonso. David riding an 8-game hitting streak up to 323 on the year.
Even though he walked Castillo in 4 pitches, great pitch to be ready for. De La Rosa does not want to walk right, but still another ball.
94 miles an hour, but down. So that's 5 in a row out of the strike zone from De La Rosa. Remember, he got ahead of Pagan 0-2, then went 3-2 before the Pagan double.
Center field Spielberg's shaded a bit towards right center.
And David lofts one foul. 1-1. Mets have seen De La Rosa before, but not for 3 years, and never as a starter. He's made 6 career relief outings against the Mets, mostly when he was with Milwaukee. So there are a few Mets who've seen him before. You see that stat on De La Rosa, unbelievable. Letter high strike, 1-2. Probably not where he intended that pitch to be. Pagan and Castillo, the base runners, good speed aboard. David, with his 2 RBIs in the first game, has reached 50 for the year. And Wright goes down swinging for the first out. 96th time that Wright's been struck out this year.
Well, that is his out pitch, De La Rosa. We saw the big curve earlier. This one underneath the bat of David.
So now 1 away, and here's Jeff Francoeur, who extended his hitting streak to 6 games with a base hit in the opener.
Francoeur is a notorious first ball hitter. It'll be interesting to see how De La Rosa and Torrealba try to counter that.
We talked about in the first game that you wonder why they ever throw a strike to Francoeur first pitch. Well, when he does swing at the first pitch and put it in play, lifetime, Francoeur's hitting 337. Knocked a button loose on that last pickoff try.
Cutter is going to throw that same pitch he threw to David, 2-1.
And Francoeur able to lay off low and in. De La Rosa, 28 years old and going through the best stretch of his major league career right now. Won 10-8 for the Rockies last year, and after starting out 0-6 this year, he has won 8 of his last 9 starts. Stayed with that cutter, and it's 1-1. Thing about De La Rosa that's interesting, he's 8-1 over the last 9 starts. The Rockies have averaged 9 3/4 runs per game in those 9 starts.
Wow.
That's a good way to get to 8-1.
That's right.
Castillo back to the bag.
Wow, look at Tatis trying to mirror the speed of that pitch from De La Rosa with Francoeur at the same time. Timing is everything.
That's what you're taught to do in Little League. Francoeur, 17 RBIs in 15 games as a Met. And the off-speed pitch misses high, 2-1. Pagan led off the inning with a double and stole third. Castillo walked, 1 out as the Mets try and get on the board in the first inning. And Francoeur fouls it back, 2-2.
You know, last night's game, if you remember, when he was hit with the baseball, last night, 2 nights ago, had that big lump on his hand. They taped it up, and Francoeur said that'll never happen again. He didn't feel like he could hit at all with it taped up. So going without the tape, and this afternoon's game and this game.
And he said he never had a thought about either coming out of the lineup that night or sitting out the next day. There goes Castillo, but Frank Kerr fouls it off.
Here's the defense for the Rockies. Change up from the first game. Smith in the left, Spielborgs and Hop complete the outfield. Atkins 2 games in a row. Third base, Tulowitzki, Barmas, and Helton at first. And Jorvit Torrealba, of course, catching the nightcap for Jim Tracy and his Colorado Rockies.
Tracy's team was red hot coming into this series. Mets have cooled them down, much as they did the Astros last weekend. Well, it's clear the Mets are going to run as much as they can in this game. Mets lead the National League in stolen bases. Pagan's steal was their 87th of the year.
It's a 2-2 count. You got to think De La Rosa wants to throw his curveball here.
Comes at the feet of Frank Kerr. Castillo steals second. Pagan coming home, and he's in a rundown. Rockies reacted well. Torrealba dives and tags him just before Pagan gets back to the bag. Well, the second time in this series that the Mets have made an out on an attempted delayed double steal. And Razor Shine's clearly not happy with Pagan's move to the plate.
Well, Torrealba with the throw, but you can't go there, just like Jeremy Reed shouldn't have gone. And you could almost say that Pagan might have got back in time here, but the third base umpire calls him out. Let's see if he gets that hand on. No, it looks like he got him before he got on that bag.
So no stolen base for Castillo. 2-4-2 on the play on Pagan, and clearly Jerry Manuel, like Razor Shine's, not happy at all with Pagan's decision to break for the plate. So that might have taken the Mets out of a big inning. 3-2 the count to Frank Kerr with a runner at second and 2 out. And he fouls it back to stay alive.
You just have to know, as the runner, you know the game plan. The game plan is De La Rosa you can steal bases on. Torrealba doesn't throw anyone out. Let Castillo steal his base, be on second and third, and give your big gun a chance to get 2 ribeye steaks. Watch this angle here. It almost seemed like he got in on time, but might have just got him on the thigh.
Third base umpire Mike Estabrook with the call. Frank Kerr pounds one foul. Long turn at bat here for Frank Kerr. Has already seen 8 pitches and still going. Must be getting exhausted. He's never at the plate that long. Dan Isonia had the first game off. He's behind the plate. Charlie Relaford, the crew chief at first base. Larry Vanover and Mike Estabrook rounding out the crew. This will be the 9th pitch to Frank Kerr. And he lines one to left field. Smith comes on and grabs it to end the inning. A bullet by Frank Kerr, but it stayed up for Smith. So the Mets waste a leadoff double and do not score against De La Rosa. Now to the second. John Neese back to the mound with no score. Brad Hopp leads off the second inning, takes a strike from John Neese, who's thrown a first pitch strike to 4 of the first 5 batters now. Hopp 2 for 12 in the series. Mets have done a nice job of cooling down the Rockies all-star right fielder.
There's Bob Apodaca having a word with Art De La Rosa. Even though he's won 8 games since June 1st and 7 straight, room for improvement. And it doesn't look like De La Rosa is having any part of that discussion. It's Apodaca with some harsh words.
Well, been a lot of harsh words tossed around in this first inning.
Tough love. Tough love. You know, it's very interesting. Hopp in the first game against Oliver Perez was right on the ball, was hitting the ball the other way. Remember, he had a hit to left field and a line drive out to left field. And since that first game, to me, it seemed like he's been in pull mode.
2-2 from Neese. Just off the outside corner, 3-2. It'll be Hopp, then Ryan Spilborghs and Garrett Atkins for the Rockies in the second. They've now gone 23 straight innings without scoring a run. Inside ball 4, and so for the second straight inning, the Rockies get the leadoff man on. First walk by Neese. Take the train to Citi Field. The 4-game series with the Diamondbacks begins tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Mass transit is the faster, easier, and greener way to Citi Field. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Livan Hernandez pitches tomorrow night against Doug Davis in the opener of the series. Tomorrow, of course, also the non-waiver trading deadline at 4 o'clock. Here's Ryan Spilborghs. And he fouls one away. And I didn't think the Pirates could trade any more players, but they did about an hour ago. They traded John Graybo and Tom Gorzolani, 2 left-handers, to the Cubs. And I don't know, is there anybody left with a salary on the Pirates?
That's not only that. They're trading in their division. I mean, they just absolutely don't care now. And boy, if I'm a Pittsburgh Pirate fan and I got season tickets, I'm giving someone a call. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, it's a complete fire sale now. I mean, this is rivaling what happened in San Diego. Remember the year they picked up Fred McGriff? The Braves picked up Fred McGriff.
That's right.
At the trading deadline, and they rode him into the postseason that year.
Got my Steelers jersey on right now, or the
Penguins. Spilborghs lifts one to right. Frank Kerr is right there. And that's the first out of the inning.
You know, there was a time in the past, Gary, where these kind of trades made like this would get the attention of the commissioner and say, hey, I'm going to review this maybe. We'll see.
Well, what the commissioner generally was concerned about with those deals was cash.
Cash, the money.
Going the other way. In this case, they're getting players. I mean, they got Kevin Hart and Jose Ascanio and a minor leaguer. So they're supposedly bringing in prospects trying to rebuild. Yeah. But, I mean, to get rid of basically every player with anything more than a minimum salary, I mean, let's review. Nate McLeod, Nyjer Morgan, Adam LaRoche, Freddie Sanchez, Jack Wilson, Ian Snell, John Graybo, Tom Gorzolani.
And what do they get back? Ronnie Cedeno, as far as the guy on the roster.
Kevin Hart.
Oh, that's Kevin Hart, yes.
1-1 to Atkins. Atkins 0 for 8 in this series and has struck out 4 of the 8. Just 2 for 19 since the All-Star break, as his dreadful season just keeps getting worse. And Neese throws that cutter inside, 2-1. John Neese, just 22 years old, and boy, the progress he's made since we last saw him in May.
He's got that nice cutter now. We still haven't seen him use a lot of the changeup. Surprised that Tracy hasn't tried a little hit and run here just to get something started. Jumpstart this offense.
Line to short. Baroa's got it. Throw back to first on a hop. Murphy can't handle it. Tough play for Murph to try and pick that ball up on the quick toss by Baroa. Trying for the inning-ending double play.
Oh, nice try on both ends right at Baroa, and you say to yourself, why didn't he set himself? Really wouldn't have had time to set himself. That was a good play to get the ball over and just hope that Mr. Murphy can somehow make a play, but screened by the runner.
Screened by the runner, who should have been sliding, but wasn't, and that probably actually helped Hopp in the end arrive back safely. So here's Yorvit Torrealba. Torrealba making his first appearance in the series. Been a very, very rough year for Torrealba for issues that have nothing to do with baseball. The runner goes and it's fouled off. If you didn't hear the story, it's just dreadful. Torrealba in early June found out that his son and two of his uncles had been kidnapped down in Venezuela, and they were held for 36 hours before finally being released.
Wow.
And the worst part about it is not the fact that the kidnapping occurred because it ended up okay. It's the fact that the trauma that was brought on his child has just created such difficulty for Torrealba and his family, because that's the kind of memory that will never be erased for the youngster.
Man, that's the kind of stuff that get me in jail. Someone did something, Mike. I'm telling you.
Well, Urvit stayed away for almost a month to try and deal with the aftermath. He's been back for about 3-4 weeks now. 2-1 to Torrealba. And it's, particularly in Venezuela, this is something that these players deal with all the time, but none quite as prominently as Torrealba, who was almost a Met a couple of winters ago.
That's right. The physical got him, right?
Well, he's got a grievance that he's filed against the Mets. They never announced that he had failed his physical, but that's kind of the word that got out.
Yeah.
And he had a 3-year deal with the Mets, and he ended up signing a shorter, less lucrative contract to stay with the Rockies. And because of that, he's filed a grievance, which is yet to be heard. There's ball 4. And so the second walk inning by Nice puts 2 men on with the pitcher coming up. In fact, while the Rockies have been in New York this week, he was supposed to have that grievance heard, but it was postponed because of the change of leadership in the players union. They didn't feel as though they were prepared to argue his case.
A lot of threes right there. The only 3 you like is the 3 RBIs by De La Rosa.
Lifetime 9 hits and 89 at bats. So 2 out and 2 on in a scoreless game, second inning. And a little numbered. David Wright goes wide to play it and throws out De La Rosa to end the inning. So Nice works around a couple of walks. Mets come up in the bottom of the second with no score. Ronnie's inside pitch on Jorge De La Rosa, part of the business of baseball, brought to you by Xerox, ready for real business.
Well, he's been great at not walking people. He walked Castillo in the first, but no free passes in his last start when he was outstanding. Offensive pressure is going to equal a sweep for the Mets. They've got to run early and often as they have, And he's a 4-pitch pitcher. He's got them all: the cutter, slider, curveball, and of course that good fastball. It'll be a tough test for the Mets today.
And with that, he's averaged slightly over a strikeout per inning this year. Struck out right in the first inning. Fernando Tatis will lead off in the home second. Tatis delivered the keynote in this series on Monday night with the pinch hit grand slam in the 8th inning, the Mets' first pinch hit grand slam in 9 years. And Tatis reestablished himself as a grand slam king. And De La Rosa starts him off with that slow curve.
And I was saying in the first inning, we saw Tatis here on the second out, the catch of the baseball, and proceeded to run in, not knowing how many outs there are. Fernando, we're just having fun with you. After you've hit a grand slam, of course you want to get in and have your chance of getting a hit.
At least he didn't toss it to a fan.
It happens. It happens all the time. I've just never really seen it happen in the first inning. That happens all the time, but it'll happen to players every once in a while.
Tatis's pinch hit grand slam was his 8th career grand slam, only his 108th career home run. There's only one other player who's had that few home runs in his career with that many grand slams. You got to go back a long way. Grounder right near the bag. Tough play for Atkins, and throws on the run to get him. Good play by Garrett Atkins for the first out. Ron Northey, who played in the 40s and 50s, also had 8 grand slams with only 108 home runs.
108 at bats.
108 home runs.
Oh, 108 home runs. You're right. Okay. Wow.
I mean, Tatis has the same number of grand slams as Eddie Matthews.
Yeah.
Willie Mays. One more than Mel Ott, Mike Schmidt, and Frank Robinson.
Well, that's hard to believe.
Grounded over the bag, just foul. So Murphy, who's been pulling doubles with regularity, coming close to another one.
So Murph, who's been hitting in that 4-hole, now moved down against the left-hander De La Rosa.
Murphy 4 for 10 in this series. And watches just off the plate, 1-1. On the inside corner, 1-2.
You know, De La Rosa, much like some of the international stars you get from the Asian countries, when they pitch with that pause, sometimes right now you see a lot of the Mets hitters trying to get their timing down and getting some of their weight off on that front foot because it's hard to wait long enough.
Well, he's got the pause at the top, but then he also has the long wraparound of the leg before he comes back out of the coil.
What that shows me, to tell you the truth, and we talked about, he's been kind of a journeyman trying to find his way, is that this is a young man that always had trouble repeating his motion, so now he's got it down kind of to a science.
Working in pieces?
Yeah, it's the same thing you would do if you were learning how to dance. You'd learn it in small increments and then put it all together.
You see the career numbers on De La Rosa, who has bounced around quite a bit from Milwaukee to Kansas City to Colorado. Started out in the Arizona organization, went to the Mexican League, Red Sox organization, back to Arizona. Finally made it to the big leagues with Milwaukee in 2004. Just inside, and a full count to Murphy. Good patient at bat here for Daniel. Now at 3-2, Murphy swings and lines one foul.
As you see with all the Mets, see the facial hair by Daniel Murphy. I'd be too young to really grow a full beard. A lot of these Mets, well, not a lot, all of the Mets have decided to not shave until they get the 500. So 500 or bust.
Well, they could potentially do that tomorrow if they win tonight. They're 2 games under now with this 5-game winning streak. But, you know, you said this afternoon, as Murphy draws a walk, and the Mets have a one-out base runner. Second walk for De La Rosa. If they get to 500, they're still on a winning streak. Why stop?
You got to go, just like the hockey players. Just keep it going.
Keep it going until you're in the handshake line.
There you go. That's right. I would do it, but somehow it comes in a little whiter than it used to in the past, Gary.
Latest from Blue Jays general manager J.P. Ricciardi. He has all but dismissed the possibility of trading Roy Halladay before tomorrow's deadline, which means in an hour from now we'll be getting the announcement of the trade, right?
Yes, of course.
Here's Angel Baroa, who turned in a very good first game performance today. Had a 2-run double in the second inning. Made a couple of nice defensive plays as well. This is now Baroa's 4th start for the Mets. Alex Cora getting a much deserved game off tonight after playing second base this afternoon.
Well, the GM who did all the talking, J.P. Ricciardi, has nothing to show for it at the trade deadline yet. And the GM who did no talking, Ruben Amaro, of course, has done the most.
Well, Amaro kind of stuck it to Ricciardi, didn't he?
He did. He said, take this or leave it. J.P. said, well, I'll leave it. He said, okay. Always have a backup plan, and he did with Cliff Lee. How many times you see the 2008 Cy Young Award winner get traded the next season?
Speaking of former Cy Young Award winners, with the Diamondbacks coming to town tomorrow, news that Brandon Webb has suffered yet another setback in his shoulder rehab, and now they're saying that Webb may need surgery on that shoulder. He has pitched only once this year on opening day.
Well, his motion, and if you fans can remember Brandon Webb, of course, one of the outstanding pitchers in this game. You hate to see anyone having those kind of problems. But his motion has a full rotation of the front shoulder, and unless you are someone incredibly strong, that will wear away at the back of your rotator cuff, and it's just a shame. I mean, all of us, especially announcers, love watching him pitch.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cy Young Award winner in 06, runner-up in 07 and 08, and virtually invisible in 09, and that's got something to do with the Diamondbacks season. Although the Diamondbacks have gotten very good pitching, it's their offense that's been missing in action for most of the year. You got Chris Young hitting 200. Up and down that lineup, you've got guys who are way underperforming what was expected.
Well, Mr. Reynolds, Mark Reynolds, has really been the only star that's kept up with his end of the bargain. Alex Cora, a rare game off.
And Baroa down swinging for the second out of the inning. Foul tip held by Torrealba. Second strikeout for De La Rosa. And while we're on the subject of pitchers and their rehabilitation, we just got word John Maine, as you know, was looked at by Dr. James Andrews down in Birmingham yesterday to get a second opinion. And the word we're getting is that that second opinion confirmed the original diagnosis of shoulder weakness. So I guess that means no structural damage for John Maine, and he's going to go back to Florida and keep trying to rehab. The problem that John has had is not that he has significant pain behind that shoulder, it's that he has discomfort.
And he's got a pinching feeling in the back of that shoulder where he had it operated on last year. And I think a lot of times when you had an operation, you feel something back there again, your first inclination as a pitcher that you've heard it again.
Santos grounds one out to short, and Tulowitzki with the flip. That does it for the Mets in the bottom of the second. On to the third, top of the order coming up for the Rockies against John Neese. Day night or traditional. Text your response to 57508 or sny.tv. This is only the 5th home day-night doubleheader the Mets have ever played. They had one back the early years of Shea Stadium, and then none again until just a few years ago. And each of the first 4 day-night doubleheaders that the Mets have played at home have been split. They hope it's not today. Is the first doubleheader of any kind at Citi Field.
Well, you got to like the tradition. You get to hang out for 2 games, right? You loved doubleheaders, didn't you?
Loved doubleheaders when I was a kid. Seth Smith leads off in the 3rd inning, top of the order against John Neese, and that is 10 batters, 9 first pitch strikes for Neese. Well, you know, the first year the Mets played at the Polo Grounds, 1962. It's a good curveball, but it misses 1-1. 160 games, right? They had a couple rained out. They went 40 and 120. They played 30 doubleheaders. So 60 of their 160 games, 38%, were doubleheader games. Think about that. Now, the problem, of course, is they had those 30 doubleheaders. They swept 3, split 10, and got swept 17 times.
That's how you lose 120.
Exactly. Pulled down to first. Murph can't quite make the diving stop, and it's down the line for Seth Smith. Frank Kerr over to play it, and Smith has his 9th double of the year. So for the 3rd straight inning, the Rockies get the leadoff man on as they try and break this long scoreless drought.
A nice start for Smith, 2 for 2. Brings those hands in and keeps that ball fair down the first base line.
24 innings without a run for the Rockies in this series. Now Clint Barmas, who fouled out to Murphy his first time up, looking to at least advance Smith over to 3rd. Rockies have gone 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position in this series, and Barmas fouls it back over the screen. Wasn't quite the idea.
Well, he really didn't get ready till very, very late, almost like you know what you do if there was a runner on 3rd and doing a suicide squeeze to really disguise it. You want to get that ball on the ground. You want to make right field it.
See if the bunt's still on 0-1. Neese handles it, and he'll go to first base. 1-4 on the sacrifice, moving Smith over to 3rd.
Here, in much better form. See how he turns around earlier? Has the bat out in front, head on the ball, catches it on the end of the bat. And Neese had a shot here if he had been very aggressive, but I think holding the ball was a good idea. Why? Because Wright was scrambling back to get on 3rd, and having him scramble back on the throw and everything to be in sync, it might have been a problem. So you take the out and try to get Helton out.
Also, Ronnie, isn't that a much tougher throw for a left-hand pitcher?
It is. It's much easier for the right-hander.
Todd Helton has to jump out of the way. Helton lined out to left his first time. Mets have brought the infield in. 3rd inning in a scoreless game. And a good hitter at the plate. You got De La Rosa, who's been a hot pitcher, but it certainly hasn't looked like a world beater tonight, pitching on the other side. And Helton grounds one to Castillo. Turns out to be the perfect move. Infield playing in. Smith has to hold at 3rd, 2 out.
Well, nice pitching by Jonathan Neese. Jammed Todd Helton right to Castillo. Underhand flip for the out.
Well, the Rockies just can't buy a run right now. 24 straight innings without a run. And Neese trying to make it 25 as Tulowitzki steps in. Tulowitzki hit a little flare that Castillo made a nice play on, going out into shallow right field his first time up to end the 1st inning. But Tulowitzki 5 for 10 in this series. He's been the one bat the Rockies can rely on. And Neese goes away and gets a strike, 1-1.
Santos keeps sitting inside, but Neese hasn't been able to get that ball. That's almost like a backup cutter that he's throwing to Tulowitzki.
And there's the cutter for a strike, 1-2.
Good pitch here. surprises Tulowitzki. Maybe we see the big curveball in the dirt here by Jonathan Neese.
That's his out pitch. Smith led off the inning with a double. He's at third with 2 out. And the curveball bounced to short. Baroa swiftly to his left, and he throws out Tulowitzki to end the inning. So the Rockies now have gone 25 innings without a run, despite a leadoff double. We head for the bottom of the third at Citi Field. Vincent rocks, no score. Marina.
Derek Bell sighting over there.
I didn't know they did 8s.
That's cool.
Flushing Bay. There's your AT&T high-speed pitch. Jorge De La Rosa topping out at 95. John Neese at 91. And Neese will lead off against De La Rosa in the home third. Neese 1 for 6 at the plate this year. 2 for 12 in his career. Hey, Ronnie, I wanted to get your take on something that happened last night in the Tampa Bay Yankees game. At one point, Jobber Chamberlain threw one over the head of Evan Longoria. And then later in the game, Matt Garza for the Rays hit Mark Teixeira. And after the game, basically admitted that he had hit him on purpose. Didn't quite say that, but said, you know, our guy, if they throw it at our guys, something has to happen, as Neese goes down swinging for the first out. That's something you don't often hear, a guy being that blatant admitting that he hit somebody on purpose.
Well, you know why? Because the league, as soon as they hear that, they fine you and they try to suspend you. I got a statement here. It's about time someone made a statement. This is Garza speaking. I hate to be that guy, but someone had to take a stand and say we're tired of it. You go after our best guy, which is Longoria, and we'll make some noise too, and that's what happened, as he explained it to the press. It's nice to see that when your best player gets thrown at and the ball is over his head, which is unacceptable, to tell you the truth. You don't throw at anyone's head. That Garza responded, and that's how you build up some great equity in your clubhouse as a gamer for your team. Mentioning it, though, it wasn't the best idea for Matt. You should just say the same thing every time. Pitch got away from him.
Pagan to deep left center, chasing back Spilborghs onto the track, and he runs it down a couple of steps from the wall. Well, Pagan making a bid for his first home run of the season after doubling his first time up tonight.
Boy, right in the middle of the plate. Just the ballpark got Mr. Pagan right here. Nice play by Spilborghs in this unfamiliar park, getting back there and making the play.
Well, these Rockies outfielders are used to playing in a cavernous ballpark, albeit one where the ball carries a little better.
Albeit that one would have been over the fence in Colorado.
So here's Luis Castillo, who drew a walk his first time up tonight. missed the day game today. His wife Angie gave birth at 11:56 this morning to a 7-pound 4-ounce baby girl named, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Adonai, Adonai. Grounded toward the hole. Tulowitzki can show off that strong arm, and he does it beautifully to get Castillo. Man, he has got quite a wing. That time throwing underhand to first base, and nonetheless getting it there hard and on target. 1-2-3 inning. We go to the fourth, no score. Well, it's a very famous date in Mets history. It was on this date 40 years ago during the Mets championship run in 1969. After losing the first game of a doubleheader to the Astros 16-3, second game, Gil Hodges felt as though Cleon Jones didn't hustle after a double by Johnny Edwards down the line, walked slowly out to left field and took Cleon out of the game. And it was a message sent. Brad Hopp hits one to left center. Pagan chasing back, takes a glance and makes the grab. One pitch and one long out. The Mets, that was the 30th of June. They hit their absolute low point for the year on August the 12th. On July 30th, of course, was when that happened 40 years ago today. August 12th, they hit their low point 10 games out of first place.
Yeah.
And from that point on, they went 38-11. And if you add in the postseason, they were 45-12.
They're 7-1 in the postseason, right? Wow.
There's a strike to Ryan Spilborghs. But think about the fact that they lost that doubleheader to the Astros 16-3 and 11-5. And think about the pitching the Mets had that year. Jerry Koosman started the first game, and Gary Gentry started the second. Gentry got knocked out in the third inning. The Astros had an 11-run inning in the first game of the doubleheader and a 10-run inning in the second game of the doubleheader.
Wow. And that's the team that won the World Series. You don't see that very often.
Slow ground ball off the bat of Spilborghs, and David Wright with the running throw right on target. 2 out. Well, here's the lineup from the second game of that doubleheader, and it was pretty much the regular lineup for those 69 Mets. And Boswell, we platoon sometimes at second base with Al Weiss, and Ed Kranepool at first base, who platooned with Don Clendenin. Art Shamsky, who platooned with Ron Swoboda. Gil Hodges liked his lefty-righty platoons, and they served him very well that year. Garrett Atkins hits one toward the hole. Baroa can't get it. And Atkins has himself his first hit in this series. He had gone 0 for 9 to that point. Third hit off John Neese.
Their lefty-righty platoons worked pretty well on their next World Series team also. Nice try by Angel Baroa.
Don't forget forget that there's a big '69 Mets reunion celebration here at Citi Field on August the 22nd.
That's great. I love seeing those guys. They are just so funny to be around. Get all those old stories, and they're like little kids. It's almost like they go back to when they're 25, 28 years old again, as far as they're needling each other.
Guys, on that, I talked to Ed Kranepool today, and he just gave me his recollection of that moment. He said, well, when he passed him out, we all thought he was going for Buddy Harrelson, but he kept going, and he said he kept going so deliberately. It's like it kind of took forever. He said they had a few words, and then Cleon just kind of followed him back in, and there were no more words exchanged. And he said, we felt if you could do that to Cleon, if you could show him up, you could do it to anyone. But the thing that Eddie told me today on the phone, he said, the thing is, that was a big point, but it didn't start then. He said Gil had that feeling with the team in spring training. He wasn't going to deal with anything. He wasn't going to deal with anyone that didn't play the right way. He wasn't going to deal with anyone that hustled. He said that was kind of a reinforcement of that point. That was his feeling about it anyway.
And, Gil was a very strong, rather silent guy, projected enormous strength, and frankly, the players were afraid of him. 2-1 to Torrealba. Taken inside 3-1. I don't think that you could project the same today. Maybe I'm wrong, and have the same effect on players that Gil did 40 years ago.
Well, no, I think that you'd have Johnny Super Agent on his BlackBerry straight away.
Well, we had Dallas Green here as a manager, and Dallas wasn't the silent type, but he projected that air of strength, and he could be very, very intimidating. And it really wasn't as effective in the 90s as it might have been at a different time. 3-2 to Torrealba. Atkins will run. And it's lined toward the left field corner. That's an extra base hit for Torrealba. Atkins racing for third. It comes right back to Tatis, though. Perfect carom, and that keeps the run from scoring. The Rockies have second and third with 2 out, but the pitcher coming up.
Even when they hit the ball hard and hit an extra base hit, they still can't find any luck. But nice play by Fernando Tatis, playing that ball beautifully off the carom.
That ball took a strange bounce off the wall. It doesn't look like there's an angle right where that ball hit, but clearly there was a severe one to have that ball bounce right to Tatis. And I'm not sure whether Fernando knew that or just was in the right place at the right time. In any event, it worked out perfectly. The wall is just angled ever so slightly, and that was enough. So now second and third and 2 down, and Jorge De La Rosa, who came up with 2 on and 2 out in the second and grounded out to David Wright. Stroke just foul outside third. Well, there's some particulars on Gil Hodges, who was a great player as a Dodger and a great manager, albeit for just a short period of time. Gil, of course, passed away at the untimely age of 47 in 1972. One and one to De La Rosa. Atkins is on third. Torrealba at second with 2 out. No score as we play in the fourth. He's trying to keep the Mets shutout string going. And a good hack by De La Rosa, but he fouls it off. 1 and 2.
Hey guys, one more point on the Cleon Jones thing, and talking to Kranepool today. He told me the one thing that he thought it did. Cleon didn't play the next 4 games. He said it got Swoboda in there and he got red hot. And he said that was really a spark plug for him. So in that way it helped the team as well.
Of course, it was Swoboda who had been with the team as long as anybody.
Yeah.
He had come up as a phenom in 1965 and hit 19 home runs as a rookie. He had the hit in the last game against the Orioles that put the Mets ahead to stay. One-two. Curveball fouled off. De La Rosa giving a good accounting of himself here.
at least if he wants to throw this curveball, he wants to bounce it, or at least throw it in the dirt here. Have De La Rosa swing over the top of it.
Santana, who pitched the gem in the day game today, looking on. In Ollie's ear as much as he can. 1-2. And another one fouled off. Fastball in on him. 7 pitches now from Nice to De La Rosa and still going.
Well, De La Rosa's been watching the last couple of games. He said, if I need to get a run, maybe I got to do it myself.
Rockies have gone 25 straight innings without one. Make it 26. High heat from Nice to get De La Rosa his first strikeout of the night. And the Rockies strand 2 in scoring position. Heart of the order coming up for the Mets with no score. IOTV, and if you're in the car, listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. The Diamondbacks, who are 14 games under 500 but beat the Phillies last night, are in for 4 starting tomorrow night. Then 2 with the replenished Cardinals before the Mets go to San Diego and Arizona. So look inside the Acela Club, where those folks are on TV and don't even know it. Come on, turn. They are secret stars.
Nice conversation. Oh, look at
hey pretty boy.
Watch this spit on Kramer.
There's one magic loogie.
Hello.
It's amazing if you go around this ballpark on a given night how many Seinfeld references you can find.
We saw one today, but we can't show it.
Exactly right. About a certain license plate.
That's right.
Jorge De La Rosa worked out of a big jam in the first inning thanks to some poor base running by Angel Pagan, and he has not allowed a hit since. David Wright struck out his first time up. David had a chance to get that first run home, 1st and 3rd and nobody out, but De La Rosa struck him out with a good curveball. David drove in 2 runs this afternoon in the Mets' 7-0 win. It'll be Wright, then Francoeur and Tatis here in the 4th.
Very interesting. Both these pitchers, although they have a little different lineup, really have the same kind of repertoire. De La Rosa throws a little harder, but you'll see the straight fastball, the cutter, and the curveball.
And you look at their seasons, and they've been almost identical.
Yeah.
De La Rosa started out 0-6 in his first 10 starts for the Rockies before turning it completely around. Nice started out 0-6 in Buffalo before winning his last 5 decisions.
Well, even if you don't include the start here with 4 scoreless for Jonathan, his last 8 starts, including his last start against Houston, put those all in, they lower than a 1 ERA, a .78 ERA, so that's lower than that now.
De La Rosa, meanwhile, has won each of his last 6 starts. That ties a Rockies franchise record. There was a relief outing in there. He made a relief appearance right before the All-Star break, but he has won 6 straight starts. In the dirt and a full count to right. A caveat for De La Rosa so far tonight is he's throwing a lot of pitches early in this game. We have not really seen the meat of the Rockies bullpen in this series. Now the 3-2, and David pulls one foul. Their closer Houston Street has been almost unbeatable this year.
25 out of 26 in save opportunities.
He recently acquired Rafael Betancourt, whom they got from the Indians, who's now their setup man. We did see the lefty Franklin Morales for one appearance, but those have been the mainstays for the Rockies out there, but they haven't been able to get in because Colorado hasn't had a lead. Again, the 3-2 to right. And David rifles one down the left field line for an extra base hit. Smith plays the carom and gets it back in. David Wright's 29th double of the year. He's moving toward the league leaders in that category.
Well, a little cutter in, and David was waiting for it. Hooks this down the line. Once it gets down there, easy double for David. And now we'll see if the combination of Wright on second with no outs and Frank Gore coming up gives a run for the Mets. Look at that contact. Right in front of the plate. Full follow through. Beautiful power position.
Only Miguel Tejada with 33 has more than Wright's 29 doubles in the National League. So now Frank Kerr, who lined out to left field his first time up.
De La Rosa did not do a very good job of holding Pagan on second. See if he does a better job here against Wright. That would be a no, because he did not look at David at all.
Do you want Wright thinking about stealing with nobody out?
I think that Francoeur has proven since he's been here that he's a perfect guy in this situation. Let him have his at bat.
And if he doesn't move him, then Wright can steal third with one out.
There you go.
He takes off though. Pitch in the dirt, thrown to third by Torrealba, and Wright is safe.
Oh,
the ball beat him, but he got around the tag by Atkins. And we'll get an argument from Jim Tracy. David pulled the old okey doke and got the arm out of the way. And Mike Estabrook made the call.
Watch, he throws down the tag and then he'll lift it up too quick. David pulls it out. See how he lifts up that tag and the right hand comes around the bag. A lot of the infielders, they'll slap the tag and bring it out of there real quick. Although it looks to me like he might have got him on that forearm.
I'm not sure about that one. But the Mets will take it. They've been getting breaks this last week. David's 22nd stolen base of the year. Tracy's already been ejected once in this series. It's been a very frustrating time here in New York for the Rockies. Estabrook, a relief umpire, only here today because of the doubleheader. He was not on this original crew, but he worked first base in the first game and working third base in the nightcap.
Well, I would have called him out because of the courtside freeze cam. Just watch the glove on the wristband that's on the forearm of David. That's an out.
If the ball beats you by that much and you make contact like that, it's really, really hard to call him safe. And I'm sure that's part of what Jim Tracy was saying. Infield staying back here with a 2-0 count to Frank Gore, right at third and nobody out. And now it's a low ball 3. So for the second time in this game, the Mets got a runner to third with nobody out.
And you know, sometimes when you get on these winning streaks and you push things aggressively, things just happen to sometimes go your way, and that's how the things have gone this series.
On 3-0, Frank Kerr swinging, and he fouls it off. And out of play.
You know, we talk about that game in Houston that Livan Hernandez won. He gave up those 3 runs in the first inning. Houston ran themselves out of a bigger inning, and the Mets were able to come back, and Livan found his range. And those are the kind of things that sometimes have to happen.
By the way, David with his 940th hit past Keith 10th all-time in Mets hits. Keith is now off that top 10 list. The only one that he's off, by the way, in the entire Mets media guide. In the air to right, that'll get the run in if it's in play, and it is. Right near the wall, Hop almost lost it as that ball drifted on him. Wright tags up, scores easily with the first run of the game, and it's 1-0 New York. Boy, Hop almost played that into a disaster for the Rockies.
Well, that ball really carried, too. We haven't seen the ball carry down that right field line. We've seen line drives go up quickly. But usually they go out there and stop, and Hop just barely catching that ball over his head. Front court saying, boy, what might have been. But nice at bat by Jeff.
Well, 17 RBIs in 16 games as a Met for Frank Core, and so the Mets take the 1-0 lead. 1 out and nobody on for Fernando Tatis. Fernando grounded out to third base. A nice play by Garrett Atkins with a running toss in the second inning. Joni Schwartz and Joe Beningo debate all the drama going on in New York sports and bring the back pages to life with the Daily News beat writers and special celebrity guests on Daily News Live, presented by Citi, weekdays at 5 only on SNY. One and one to Tatis. All right, so I got a question for you. Mets are 9.5 games behind the Phillies right now in the National League East. They are 5.5 games behind the Giants right now in the wild card race, albeit with 7 teams in front of them. The Phillies are playing the Giants tonight. Who is a Met fan rooting for?
Oh, rooting for the Phillies.
I'm with you. Do you think Met fans can stomach that?
No.
Tatis swings and misses at the fastball from De La Rosa. Well, you know, it's almost not quite the same, but the Met fan had a similar dilemma earlier this year when the Phillies played the Yankees.
Yes.
But the Phillies and Giants playing a 4-game series out there in San Francisco. So, got to make a decision. Are you in or are you out? Breaking ball wraps around the plate, and Tatis just held the swing in time for the satisfaction of Charlie Rutherford. 2-2. Rodrigo Lopez in what may be his last start for the Phillies.
That's right.
Against Jonathan Sanchez tonight in San Francisco.
And he's done such a nice job, Rodrigo Lopez, for those Phils.
My question is, what's going to happen to Pedro Martinez?
Just made a cool $1 million. That's what happened to him. What, he signed for $1 million and then incentives, right?
I guess.
But I mean, what can you do? I mean, Pedro, you would never want him to be on the roster as a long reliever, I don't think.
I wouldn't
want him to be a starter.
Then again, it's hard to even think of him as a 5th starter.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons, I think, why the Mets did not bring him back this year. And we talked about that during spring training. 2-2 to Tatis. Swing and a miss, struck him out. So De La Rosa has his 4th strikeout of the night. 2 out and nobody on. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Well, guys, we've seen a lot of good stuff from De La Rosa tonight. You, of course, have chronicled his hot streak here, especially in the second half of the season. I was talking to Jim Tracy about him today, and he said, well, basically, for me, he's been like a number 5 starter with ace stuff, and he can do that when he doesn't try to overthrow, because when he does that, his stuff flattens out. He's come to realize that. He said the other thing, he's come to realize how to pitch to an opposing team's lineup. Excuse me, guys. Guys, why don't you take it away? I'm sorry.
We'll come back to you, Kevin. Daniel Murphy, the batter. He walked his first time up.
Were you choking or you were just lying?
Curveball taken low.
Now, I know what Kevin was saying because I was talking to Bob Apodaca and Jim Tracy about that. And what they've tried to do is that they've tried to get the pitcher and the catcher more involved together in formulating the game plan. Like most of the time, the pitching coach will just do the game plan himself and make the catcher and pitcher implement it. But they've really tried to get the pitcher and catcher to formulate their own game plan. So they're almost, they've decided how to get people out under the auspice of Apodaca, and they can take it into the game because they're on the same wavelength.
Well, the other piece with De La Rosa is he's learned to calm down. The Rockies have a guy named Ron Svedich who they call their mental skills coach. and he has told De La Rosa that he needs to relax, breathe deeply when things go wrong, not try to bull his way through tough situations, but just try and calm himself down. Sometimes a couple of deep breaths can do a lot of good.
I know what you're saying. I think for most pitchers, and I think Bob Apodaca has been a big proponent on trying to get his pitchers to relax as Murphy walks for the second time. The whole thing about young pitchers, and even though he's 28 years old and bounced around, he hasn't had that kind of season, De La Rosa, where you have the confidence in your stuff and your stuff is good enough. Whenever you get in tight situations, you try to bully your way through it as opposed to pitching your way through it. And this is all part of those mental skills approaches.
And talking to Bob Apodaca years ago, I remember when he was Mets pitching coach, he was the first person I heard use the term caveman baseball.
That's right.
That the natural instinct when things go wrong is to try that much harder, try and throw the ball that much harder, whereas you want to do just the opposite.
Get ball, throw ball hard. You know what I mean? That's how you think sometimes when you're in the early part of your career.
Murphy at first, not a big base stealer. Baroa pops one up. And Clint Barmas has the call. That'll do it for the inning. By the way, in case you were wondering, Kevin's still alive and well. A little sinus infection, but we think he's going to be all right, as are the Mets, because of David. Latest happenings in New York sports on Geico Sports Night. That's tonight after the post game and again at 1 a.m. if you can make it that long, right here on SNY. Boy, this has been a long day. It all started out at noon. The Gecko's been watching every single pitch. Seth Smith, third time around the batting order, single to left, double to right his first two trips, and he takes the curveball from John Neese for a strike, 0-2. John's allowed 4 hits, has had base runners against him in every inning, but has continued to hold the Rockies off the scoreboard, now 26 straight innings, and he gets Smith swinging for the first out here in the 5th. So pitching with the lead for the first time. Neese off to a fast start in the 5th inning, his second strikeout.
What I love about Jonathan is he got ahead there. He took a little off this curveball, which got Smith way out in front. And you were talking about the mental skills. If you notice that Jonathan Neese this time coming up, a calmness around him while he stands on that mound. Now, of course, he's 4 scoreless and 1 out here in the 5th, Be nice to see when he's in a little trouble, but he's much more calm than I remember him the first couple of times he came to the big leagues.
Line to left by Barmes. It'll hang up for Tatis for the second out. So 2 up and 2 quickly set aside by Neese in the 5th. And so Todd Helton will come back to the bat with the bases empty. Well, I think we saw it in the Helton at bat in the 3rd inning. He had a runner at 3rd and 1 out, infield in, one of the best hitters in the game at the plate, and he made a quality pitch in a big spot.
The first pitch he missed inside, second time he came right back inside. That's a good thing to see. Saw Neese pointing there. You know what that does? Is that's the pitcher saying to Murphy, hey, I got you. I'll be over there on a ground ball.
Working the outside corner to Helton, who's 0 for 2. Line to left and then grounded out to second base with a runner at 3rd in the 3rd. Driven to left, and again Tatis is there waiting for it, and that ends the inning. A 7-pitch inning for John Neese, halfway through. 1-0 New York.
Fans in the world, Casey, come back soon. Thank you.
And today is Casey Stengel's birthday. He was born on this date in 1890. Casey Stengel, who was such a part of the early days of the Mets franchise, really the face of the franchise in addition to being the manager. That's one of his great quotes. The secret of managing is to get the guys who hate you away from the guys who are undecided. Good pitching will stop good hitting and vice versa. That sounds more like a Yogi line.
My favorite is, here you go, another one, Gary.
Yeah, that one too. It's the staying up all night that does in the ball player.
Very racy for our producer.
And I think in many respects, I mean, Casey had been, such a successful manager with the Yankees. Won 5 straight World Series in the late 40s and early 50s. And the Yankees had let him go a couple of years before the Mets were formed. And the Mets were looking for a name. They were looking for a face. But I think what they got more than anything else is they got the proper distraction.
Yeah.
He was entertaining. He was comical. And it suddenly didn't matter that the Mets lost 120 games their first year as Santos drives one to deep right center, but Spilborghs gets back in the gap to grab it. And that's the first out of the inning. And I think in a lot of ways, Casey set the tone for what the Met franchise would be. That it wasn't all about wins and losses, that this franchise, unlike the Yankees, were going to be about fun and family and youth. And I think those are the things that Casey represented and espoused, and the fact that he was, in his 70s and kind of a nutty guy. I think that really helped build the Met franchise, not only in terms of attracting fans, but in terms of establishing kind of the tone of the franchise. Now, he probably wasn't the right guy to lead them to their championship. Gil Hodges was the right guy for that, but he set the stage.
And probably in a smaller part, the great broadcasting trio also played a big part in that early development.
No question about it. Murphy, Connor, and Nelson, they were the backbone for fans as they reestablished National League Baseball in New York. 1-2 to Nice, and then misses 2-2. What I didn't realize about Casey Stengel, I mean, I'd always thought of him as a very marginal player.
Yeah.
Kind of kicked around during his playing days.
A couple of good seasons.
Teens and 20s. He had a year with the New York Giants. Toward the end of his career, 1922, he had 368. It's not bad.
That's pretty good. Any decade.
Bouncing ball up the middle, but over goes Tulowitzki to grab it on the running toss just in time to get the hustling Nice for the second out.
Tulowitzki throws from all those different angles just to amuse himself sometimes. He knows he can throw 100 miles an hour over there.
What's the best shortstop arm you ever saw?
I know Keith always says Gary Templeton, and by the time I saw him, he didn't have that kind of arm. I always thought Sean Dunston was the best I saw. He would wind up and fire a BB over to, well, it was Leon Durham or later Mark Grace, and Durham and Grace would just brace themselves at first base.
Pagan drives one to deep center field. Spilborg's back, has it lined up. 2 long fly balls in the inning. Spilborg's equal to them both. And the Mets are down 1-2-3. Tulowitzki, dangerous hitter to lead off the 6th. Rockies haven't scored in 27. Begins tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Mass transit is the faster, easier, and greener way to Citi Field. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Jonathan Nice has shut out the Rockies for 5 innings in this game, and the Rockies have now gone 27 innings, the equivalent of 3 straight games, without scoring a run. Their last run came on a leadoff home run in the 5th inning Monday night by Clint Barmas. And let's remember, this is a Rockies team that's second in the National League in runs scored.
Second in home runs.
Tulowitzki leading off the 6th inning. He has popped to second base and grounded to short. The last time the Mets had 3 consecutive shutouts, you got to go back to 1988. The first 3 home games of 1988, Darling, Ojeda, and Gooden, all complete game shutouts.
Wow.
You had the 5-hitter. Bobby O had the 2-hitter. Doc had, oh no, I'm sorry. Doc only went 6 innings. Is that what you're saying? So only you and Bobby O have the complete game.
Bobby O, topper.
Ball 4, and Tulowitzki's on with a leadoff walk. Time for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Let's go to the studio and Chris Carlin. All right, Chris, fourth time in the game the Rockies have had the leadoff man on. Now Brad Hopp, who's walked and fly deep to center, and he takes off the plate for ball 1. Clarification, that third game in the 3 shutout streak, Doc went 6, but that was a complete game. It was a rain-shortened game.
Oh, there we go.
So there's an asterisk there. That's the last time the Mets had 3 straight shutouts of 9 innings or more. Got to go back further. High fly ball to right center field. And Pagan ranging over. Tagging at first base, Tulowitzki. He's going to try. The throw by Pagan is offline, and Tulowitzki arrives safely at second base. Good base running by Tulowitzki with his team struggling, taking the extra base.
Well, Mr. Hopp just missed this. I got it, yelled by Angel Pagan. Wasn't able to get behind that baseball, no, and get his weight moving forward as that one was driven to right center. Watch Tulowitzki. Recognizes that Pagan is going back on that baseball, takes a look, and then just a well-schooled baseball player, this Tulowitzki, takes the extra base.
So he's on second with 1 out for Ryan Spilborghs, who has flied to right and grounded to third, 0 for 2. And he swings and misses at a high fastball, 0-1.
You remember Neese throwing so many high fastballs that are swung and missed at? That's a nice addition to his repertoire.
He's got the cutter working. He's got the curveball working. And that one low and away, 1-1. 7 solid innings against Houston last Saturday. Working scoreless into the 6th inning tonight. Low pitch count.
Strikes to ball ratio for Jonathan.
1-1 to Spilborghs. Right back up the middle. Base hit. Tulowitzki turns third, heads home. Here comes Pagan's throw to the plate. It's cut off, and the Rockies tie the game. And after going 27 straight innings without a run, Colorado finally tallies as Spilborghs drives home Tulowitzki.
A well-placed ground ball here by Spilborghs, just right up the middle. Nice hitting. Good effort by Luis Castillo trying to keep that ball in the infield. Pagan really doesn't have a play on Tulowitzki, who created that run by the tag up on the fly ball to center field.
Well, that's just the Rockies' second hit in 23 at bats with runners in scoring position in this series. So now they've drawn even. And now Garrett Atkins. Spilborghs can steal a base. He's got 8 in 12 tries this year. Atkins is lined to short and single to left, 1 for 2. His first hit in the series. I am impressed with the crowd tonight here at Citi Field. Remember, this is a makeup game. Generally, when you have makeup games, you got people who had tickets for one game and have to hang on to them and come a different night. You have maybe half a house. It's not full, but it's awfully close. 1-1 to Atkins. And, you know, right now this is a hot ball club, and Met fans are starting to believe a little bit. And I think that is drawing them back.
They're just trying to back their players. It's a nice thing to see.
Mets have a little life and hopefully a little hope on the horizon in terms of the injured players. Carlos Delgado is out there every day working with his injured hip here in New York. Jose Reyes, we haven't heard yet, but there was a possibility he was going to run the bases for the first time today down in Florida. And once he does that, if everything goes well, shortly thereafter will play in his first minor league rehab game. And Carlos Beltran is here and really against doctor's orders is trying to play with a brace on his knee to see if he can come back in the next 2-3 weeks.
That's right. He said 2.5 weeks he would like to come back. Delgado taking ground balls before the first game today.
2-1 the count to Atkins. Spilborg takes off. Neese picks him off. Murphy with the perfect throw, and Baroa with the tag. Beautifully executed. 1-3-6 on the caught stealing. 2 out.
Well, nice job by Jonathan Neese holding long enough to get this ball to Murphy. And great job by Murphy, not only with the throw, but see how he ran up to meet the baseball? That gives him more time to get the throw to Baroa. Easy tag.
And of course, that's essential for a right-hand throwing first baseman to get a good angle on that throw. 3-1 now to Atkins.
I've been impressed not only with the play of Murphy at first base, and he's been working hard at it. A real strong arm.
Yeah.
You know?
Ball 4 and Atkins is aboard.
Watch this move. He holds it long enough and then is able to throw to first. Didn't really step over there very well, but they very rarely catch that. I mean, think about it. Murphy was the guy in left field this year that they wanted him to throw with the Reyes, not all the way to the plate.
Well, the thing about Murph is he's been so aggressive playing first base, and that's his personality. So I think that he's found his niche. Now, what happens to him when Delgado comes back? I don't think there's an easy answer for that. 4 walks now given up by Neese, up to 81 pitches on the night. 2 out and a runner at first for Torrealba, who's walked and doubled, and he takes the curveball for ball 1. And a good stop by Santos to keep Atkins at first. 2-0.
Well, Torrealba now threw a first pitch curveball for a ball. Now the second pitch, a changeup in the dirt. Nice play by Santos.
By the way, Santos catching both ends of the doubleheader. Turns out Brian Schneider had a cortisone shot in his left knee yesterday, so he's completely unavailable today. The hope is that Brian will be able to play by tomorrow, but that's one of the reasons why the Mets hurried Robinson Cancel here and activated him for the doubleheader, because Schneider is not available. There's a strike. 2-1. It's designated Elmer descends for assignment before the doubleheader today to make room for Cancel. Pitcher De La Rosa on deck. And it's inside and low to Torrealba. 3-1. And so Neese starting to lose his command just a little bit. There's smoke from Blue Smoke. I think. Coming from the right direction anyway. There's a strike. 3-2.
Interesting at bat there by Torrealba. It's almost like he was assuming Neese was not going to throw a strike to pitch against De La Rosa, and had a pitch seemingly to hit.
Well, if you're the number 8 hitter in this spot, you got to be looking to do something. I'll leave it up to the pitcher. Ripped down the left field line with foul.
Exactly what I was thinking. Got to be ready to put the ball in play.
I mean, De La Rosa's already come up twice with 2 runners on base and 2 out. And Neese was able to get out of the inning both times.
I mean, you almost want to expand your strike zone a little bit.
Atkins will be taking off. 3-2 and 2 out. And Torrealba swings and misses at the curveball. And Jonathan Neese has his 3rd strikeout of the night. The Rockies rally to tie the game. 1-1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. himself for a second straight start since being recalled from Buffalo. Hot in Western New York and hot here in Queens. It's a little cooler on the surface of the moon.
Nice.
Here's your sixth inning recap. Good pitchers duel tonight between two hot pitchers, Nice and De La Rosa. Jeff Francoeur driving in the only Met run in the fourth, and Spilmore is getting the Rockies even, breaking a 27-inning scoreless drought in the sixth. And now the Mets will try and answer right back in the bottom of the sixth with 2, 3, and 4 in the batting order coming up. Castillo, Wright, and Francoeur. Castillo has walked and grounded to short, 0 for 1. The 27 scoreless inning streak for the Mets was their longest since 2004, when they had a 28-inning scoreless streak. Jerry has been saying it all along as the Mets have been shorthanded, even when they were struggling. He said pitching is going to be the key to this whole thing. And while the offense has certainly kicked into gear, the pitching has given them the chance. 1-2 to Castillo. You see the career numbers for Castillo. And if we can go back to that again, he has almost as many extra base hits right-handed as left-handed, despite the fact that he's had almost 3 times as many at bats left-handed.
Pretty consistent though with that average, right?
And again this year he's hitting over 300 from both sides of the plate right now. 2-2 from De La Rosa. Fouled away. Mets have had only 2 hits in this game. A double by Pagan leading off the first. He was eventually erased on an ill-advised dash for the plate on a double steal. And then the double by Wright leading off the fourth. He stole third and came home on Francoeur's sacrifice fly. Those are the only 2 Met hits. De La Rosa has walked 3, struck out 4. And Castillo just got a piece with that half swing. Louis, statistically the toughest man to strike out in the National League this year. He has struck out only 20 times in 289 at bats. Wow. You're facing a pitcher who's averaged a strikeout per inning this year. Two. Tied him up. Did he go? He went around. Strike 3. Charlie Relaford punches out Castillo. A rare strikeout for Louis.
A little cutter down and in. Looks like the head of that bat definitely went around. See how it snaps forward? The first base umpire, that's what he's looking for. He's looking for the top of that bat to snap forward. And Relaford calls out Castillo.
5 strikeouts for De La Rosa. Now David Wright, who scored the Mets' only run in this game, doubled down the left field line, stole third, and scored in that 4th inning. David now with a 9-game hitting streak.
Well, you can see why De La Rosa has won 8 games since June 1st. I mean, he's just throwing strikes, mixing up his pitches, throws just hard enough to throw the ball by these right-handed hitters.
One and one to Wright with Jeff Francoeur on deck. Bouncing ball for Tulowitzki, and the running toss right on target, 2 out. 6 in a row now retired by De La Rosa. So now Francoeur, who's hit the ball hard twice tonight, lined out to left field in the first. And they did a sacrifice fly that carried all the way to the right field fence in the corner in the 4th inning to drive in the Mets' only run. 17 RBIs in 16 games as a Met. And checks the swing, but he went around, 0-1.
That's the pitcher we were looking for, right? First pitch to Francoeur. Little curveball down in the strike zone. A little impatient is Jeff.
95 pitches now for De La Rosa, who's scheduled to lead off in the 7th inning. 1-1 to Francoeur.
Showed it to you before. It's cool to see it. Fernando Tatis. Francoeur at the plate. Tatis mirroring that stance and trying to time the pitcher De La Rosa.
We'll have to wait till the next inning to do it as Barmes throws out Francoeur. So De La Rosa, 7 in a row retired. Looks like he'll probably. Two-thirds of you say the straight one after another doubleheader.
Two for the price of one. That's the key.
There is that. Yeah. But you know, there's this notion that has gone around in baseball that fans don't want doubleheaders anymore. I think because they feel as though people's attention spans are shorter, that the games are longer. I don't know if that's really the case, but I think a lot of baseball front offices make the assumption that people don't like doubleheaders.
Yeah.
Or hey, De La Rosa takes a strike. And the fact of the matter is, obviously, from a revenue standpoint, you make more money by splitting them up, and especially when you have a smaller ballpark like this, you have no choice. De La Rosa drives one to center. Pagan can't get to it, and it goes by him and all the way to the wall. De La Rosa to second. He'll pull in there with a leadoff double. Well, Pagan playing shallow against the pitcher, couldn't get a good angle on it. De La Rosa with his first extra base hit of the season. The go-ahead run in scoring position with nobody out.
Well, we've seen him take some nice swings, at least, in his first two at-bats against Jonathan Nice. And right here, Angel Pagan took a angle, but playing so shallow, of course, against the pitcher, never able to catch up to that hit from De La Rosa.
Well, let's see how the Rockies played in the 7th inning. Their leadoff hitter Seth Smith at the plate. Mets will hedge for the bunt. Smith is 2 for 3 tonight, a single and a double, not bunting, and he fouls the first pitch back.
So the IOTV pitch differential down and away, middle here by Nice, who has really had a hard time in this game retiring the first hitter, hasn't he?
5 times in 7 innings the Rockies have gotten the leadoff man on. But now in a tie game in the 7th, crucial to get Seth Smith, and he throws the curveball to get ahead 0-2. Well, interesting that Jim Tracy, lefty against lefty here, not asking for the bunt.
Not asking for the bunt, and a weak swing there from Smith. They got a lefty going against a left-handed pitcher. Maybe because of De La Rosa on second base, not a lot of speed out of your starting pitcher.
1-2 to Smith. Well, this is a situation where sometimes you'll get a second baseman take an extra step in. You get a hard ground ball. Maybe you think about going to third to get the pitcher on what otherwise would be a routine advancing ground out. Lifted to left, a long one for Tatis. Diving to make the rolling catch. What a play by Fernando Tatis. Landed hard, took an extra base hit away from Seth Smith, and kept this game tied.
Well, the little things that the Mets have been doing offensively, now they turn it on the defensive end. Great jump by Fernando as he's working his way towards the line, and landed hard on that right hand. So you can see it fold under him as it hits the turf. Watch his right hand fold under him. He's able to get that out. And remember, last season his season was curtailed because of his shoulder.
Diving catch in Washington. Here's Clint Barmes, 0 for 2 in a sacrifice. So the Rockies to stay in the sacrifice, don't move De La Rosa over. And Barmes takes a curveball for a strike, and Nice leaning more on that curveball later in the game. Nice is now throwing 22 first pitch strikes to his 29 batters. Barmes hits it deep to left field. Tatis back onto the track, looking up, and it's out of here. Clint Barmes with his second home run of the series, only his second hit of the series, on a 2-run shot to put the Rockies ahead 3-1. 14th home run of the year for Barmes. So Clint Barmes, who was benched in the first game of the doubleheader, comes back in the nightcap and gives the Rockies the lead.
Well, it was a cutter that did not cut, stayed on the outside part of the plate here later in the game. Not enough zip on it from Nice to get by Barmes.
First home run that Nice has given up this season in the major leagues, and it's a big one. 3-1 Colorado. Now Todd Helton takes a strike. Helton is 0 for 3 tonight, and he takes another strike, and it's 0-2. So the Rockies try to avoid a 4-game sweep. And now leading 3-1. 1-2 to Helton.
Here's the ILTV pitch differential. Want it down and in, and that ball is just middle out over the plate. Same kind of pitch that Barmes hit for his first home run in this series.
And Helton follows with a base hit to center field on Nice's 100th pitch of the night. And it would appear as though Nice is done. Well, Nice pitched brilliantly for the first 5 innings, worked around enough trouble to keep himself in the lead, but he gave up a run after a leadoff walk in the 6th, and now after a leadoff double to the pitcher here in the 7th, a 2-run homer to Barmes has put him behind 3-1. That'll bring Brian Stokes out of the bullpen. This pitching change brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. Jonathan Neese getting a debriefing from Ryan Schneider, taking his exit after 6 1/3 innings. Now behind in the game 3-1. And Brian Stokes will come on to face Troy Tulowitzki with 1 out and 1 on. And Tulowitzki gets under one to left field, chasing Tatis back into the corner near the wall, and it's off the fence. It's bouncing away. On his way to third is Helton. He's going to be waved around. Baroa goes all the way out to get it. His throw to third is not in time. It's a triple for Tulowitzki, and now it's 4-1 Colorado. Now Tatis took the gamble, getting awfully close to the wall, and with no help once it came off the fence. Helton scored easily, and Tulowitzki wound up on third.
Well, when he hit this, I thought this was a home run. We've seen the ball down the line carry out of this ballpark. After a great catch earlier in the inning, Tatis tries to double up, just can't get it. Nice hustle by Angel Baroa to get out there in left field and make the play. Helton finally with the read, and we saw him earlier in the series. He's struggling to run right now, the veteran Helton, but scores on the play and a triple for Tulowitzki.
Had a little hitch in his giddy up
there.
there.
He does.
So 3 runs home in the inning, all charged to Neese. The book is closed on him. And now they'll intentionally walk Brad Hopp to bring up the right-hand batter and set up the double play. So Stokes, who was brilliant in his first outing in this series, gives up a triple on the first pitch he throws tonight.
And he hadn't given up a run in his last 7 appearances, as you see that ERA coming down, but he's going to have some work cut out for him now.
So Hopp, who is 0 for 2 in this game and 2 for 14 in this series, nonetheless getting the intentional pass here to set up the double play possibility.
Mets need a double play here from Brian Stokes, so this game stays relatively close. Gary mentioned before that this Colorado bullpen, the strength of it we have not seen yet.
Well, when they get to Betancourt and Street at the end of the game, that's an awfully tough duo. So here's Spilborghs, who's 1 for 3 on the night, drove in the first Colorado run in the last inning. First and third and 1 out. And the slider off the plate, ball 1. I was talking to Brian. He said he's just feeling so much better about his slider and throwing it more now.
Well, he's throwing it not only early in the count, just missed there, but we've seen him throw it behind in the count. And that's the key for Brian. Get the hitters off that fastball. If you can get ahead of them, then use the fastball.
1-1 to Spilborghs, with Garrett Atkins waiting on deck. The Rockies now with 4 runs and 9 hits. The Mets 1 run and 2 hits. Ties him up. Did he swing? No swing, says Charlie Relaford. 2-1.
A lot of signs from the third base coach. 2-1, 1 out, trying to push the envelope. Maybe a hit and run here.
Not going. Grounded to short. Might be 2. Baroa to Castillo on the first double play. Side retired. Big double play for Stokes to help keep the Mets in the game. But the Rockies put up a 3 spot in the 7th to grab the lead. Clint Farmer snapping the tie with a 2-run homer, his second of the series. Tonight's game, who is the only Hall of Famer who played for the Mets in the 1990s.
Got it.
I got that one. One defensive change for the Rockies. Ian Stewart comes in to play third base, replacing Garrett Atkins. Rockies now with the lead for the first time in a long time, as Fernando Tatis comes up to lead off the bottom of the seventh. Tatis 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded to third, struck out. Jorge De La Rosa looking for his 7th win in 7 starts. And Tatis launches one to deep left field. Back goes Smith, back near the wall, and it's out of here. Off the second deck. Fernando Tatis with his 2nd home run of the series, his 6th of the year, and he gets the Mets back to within 4-2. Whatever might have befallen Tatis when he rolled over his right arm of that diving catch, it doesn't hurt now.
Well, what you like to see now in this series is Fernando starting to show that power. Nice leg kick. That ball was a bomb. One of the longest ones we've seen here at Citi Field so far this year. Almost got it into the second deck.
So now it's a 2-run game. Now Daniel Murphy, who's walked twice tonight, and he takes inside after bluffing a bunt. Yvonne liked it. Mimicking Tatis's home run point.
Point to the heavens.
De La Rosa about to throw his 100th pitch. And it's a strike to Murphy, 1-1.
Sometimes you guess wrong when you're a pitcher, because you think to yourself, you know, I got a 3-run lead, ILTV pitch differential, balls up in the strike zone. You know what your first thought is? This hitter's taking the first pitch. They need some base runners. You got to get somebody on. Well, Fernando was not taking anything.
Upset the plan.
He did. Son of a gun, right?
The third hit of the game for the Mets. Doubles from Pagan and right, and now a home run from Tatis. Mets haven't had a single. Murphy hits one to right center field, and Hop is there. 1 away.
Everyone really works out of position today of having that wide stride. Just the opposite of Fernando. Nice shoulder width stride, and then that big stride, which is the power stride. That big leg kick.
But he keeps his head level the whole time.
He does. He doesn't move that head too much. Jim Tracy coming out.
De La Rosa is done. Tracy has made the sign for the bullpen. Moroa and Santos coming up, so he'll bring in a right-hander. Good outing for De La Rosa, as he has a chance for his 7th consecutive win as the Rockies go to the bullpen. Free with IOTV. By Corona. By Geico. by AT&T, by Lexus, by the Rums of Puerto Rico. Jorge De La Rosa done after 6 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, walked 3, struck out 5, and the Queens native and Garden City High School product Matt Daly works for the 2nd time today.
A little more tougher outs here. He's pitched when the Rockies have been behind here, trying to preserve this lead not only for Mr. De La Rosa but for his Rockies teammates.
Angel Baroa 0 for 2 today, 1 for 6 in the series. And then Omir Santos, after Fernando Tatis's home run, led off this 7th inning. Daly's faced 5 batters in this series and retired them all. And he gets ahead on Baroa with a breaking ball. Daly pitched this afternoon, worked a 1-2-3 8th inning. With Santos on deck. That's not only 3 hits tonight. John Green up in the Mets bullpen. If the Rockies bullpen is able to hold this lead, Jorge De La Rosa will become the first Rockies pitcher ever to win 7 straight starts. Baroa lines one to left, and Seth Smith is there for the 2nd out. 2 out and nobody on. Let's check in with Kevin.
Guys, Daly told me he would show up at Shea about 6 or 7 times a year in a full Al Leiter uniform, so he was into it when he came to the games here. He said when he made his Citi Field debut on Monday, the most nervous he's been, with the exception of maybe his major league debut. He had 175 family and friends at that game. He was an accounting major at Bucknell, so he said, hey, if this didn't work out, probably would have been working in the city somewhere.
I hope they all paid their own way.
I just did the accounting. That was expensive.
It's Omir Santos 0 for 2, and he takes ball 1. Omir 1 for 10 in this series after a big series in Houston, in which he homered in back-to-back games. He's got to be one tired dude right now, catching both ends of this day-night doubleheader.
You almost see the exhaustion on his face, don't you?
If he can keep the inning going, Jeremy Reed is out on deck to pinch hit. So lots of left-hand hitting in the dugout. They got Reed, they got Sullivan, Cora, Schneider not available. And Santos takes a strike on the outside edge, 2-2. Reed on deck to pinch hit if Santos can keep it going. It's down 4-2 in the 7th. And a check swing, and he held in time, 3-2.
Now seeing Daly in his 3rd outing here, the one thing I really like about him is that he really hides the baseball. It's very hard to pick up. Has that little close stance, holds the ball in the glove behind him almost. It's just hard to pick it up as a hitter.
Down the right field line, long run for Hop, sliding, can't get it, fair ball, bouncing around in the corner, and Santos into second base with a double. So Santos takes one the other way and has his 9th double of the year. First hit Daly's given up in this series.
Well, you talked about it, Gary, catching both ends of this doubleheader. Nice concentration by Omir Santos, taking it the other way. Hop with the slide, but not able to make the play. Inching a little closer is the Mets. A little 2-out hit here from Reed. Puts the Mets back in business.
Tying run at the plate now with Reed, who's done a great job as a pinch hitter this year. 8 for 22. That's a .364 pinch hit batting average. Jim Tracy's going to come out and bring in a left-hander to face him. Assume that's Franklin Morales, who is the only lefty in that Colorado bullpen. So Tracy will take Daly out of the game and bring in the left-hander. Mets only have one right-handed bat on the bench, and that's Robinson Cancel, who was just called up today. So Daly takes his exit, and Franklin Morales will come on. 4-2 Colorado. We'll be right back. the only Hall of Famer. Now it's 2. So now there are 2 Hall of Famers who played for the Mets and the Knights. I know one is Eddie Murray, and the other, of course, is Ricky Henderson.
We asked that question again in a half hour. It'll be 3.
Left-hander Franklin Morales comes out of the bullpen. He faced only 1 batter on Monday night, and that wasn't a good result for him.
Yeah, fastball for a strike, changeup for a swinging strike, and then a changeup for a grand slam home run from Fernando Tatis.
And Robinson Cancel will bat for Jeremy Reed, who had been announced into the game as a pinch hitter. Cancel just brought up today to give the Mets an extra catcher, with Brian Schneider having gotten a cortisone shot in his knee yesterday. And so Cancel, who had a couple of very big hits for the Mets late last season, will get an opportunity here. Cancel had 49 at-bats for the Mets last year, had a homer and 5 RBIs, and hit .245. This is his first big league at-bat of 2009, and he's the tying run at the plate in a 4-2 game. So Cancel makes his return, and Morales on to face him. And it's taken for ball 1. Cancel was quite a story last year. It had just a cup of coffee 9 years earlier with the Brewers, toiled in independent leagues and all around the country to get back to the big leagues. Pops this one up, and Barmes has it lined up. And that'll do it for the inning. Mets get a run closer. Fernando Tatis with his 2nd home run of the series, his 6th of the year. Hit it to pitch the 8th inning.
Well, important for Sean Green, of course, to hold the Rockies here. This 2-run deficit for the Mets. ERA is coming down for Sean too. It's just getting more effective as he goes along.
Ian Stewart, your Torrealba, and then the pitcher spot for the Rockies in the 8th inning. Mets got a run in the 4th inning. Rockies tied it in the 6th, then scored 3 in the 7th, highlighted by Clint Barmes' 2-run homer. Fernando Tatis with a home run in the bottom of the 7th to cut it to 4-2. Stewart came on for defense for Garrett Atkins in the last inning, so his first at bat of the game. Stewart played this afternoon, went 0 for 4. He's 1 for 11 in this series. Mets won the day game today 7-0 for their 5th straight win. Trying here to sweep a 4-game series, something the Mets have not done at home since 2003. Last team they did it against, the Rockies.
Boy, nice slider there from Sean Green down and in.
Torrealba on deck, and then the pitcher spot. 1-2 to Ian Stewart. Steady diet of breaking balls from Green. Slow ground ball. Wright comes in to cut it off and gets Stewart one away. 1 out and nobody on. Time to check in with Chris Carlin for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Cardinals are trying to sweep a 4-game series from the Dodgers. They won last night in 15 innings. And we talked earlier briefly about the fact the Dodgers pitched to Pujols with 2 out and 2 on to the 15th. And Pujols got the game-winning hit now that Holliday's behind him in the batting order. But did you see what else happened in extra innings in that game? Joe Thurston, the Cardinal backup, hit an apparent double in the 12th and missed first base. Maybe it's just Dodger Stadium, but when's the last time you saw a team get the benefit of that twice in one season?
2 calls. Wonder if Loretta was playing first.
That would have been interesting.
Right.
Huh? Eagle Eye, who saw Ryan Church miss third base. That was in the 11th inning, so it happened twice in extra innings this year for the Dodgers. Of course, it didn't help them this time. They didn't win the game. 1-2 to Torrealba, who's walked, doubled, and struck out 1 for 2. Carlos Gonzalez is out on deck to pinch hit. Green misses low and away, 2-2. Well, the Dodgers made a move today to strengthen their bullpen. They picked up George Sherrill, the lefty closer from the Orioles. And I guess he'll slot in to the 7th and 8th inning in front of Broxton.
Well, the problem for the Dodgers, if they have any problems, one, they played a little indifferent in the second half. But even more importantly, their bullpen has pitched, well, at one point, the last time I looked, they had pitched the 2nd or the 3rd most innings of any bullpen in baseball. And that doesn't bode very well. Billingsley, now their #1 ace, has been struggling in the second half. Kershaw's a guy that is outstanding, was outstanding last night, but he throws a lot of pitches. Sometimes he doesn't go more than 5 or 6.
Well, the rumor was that the Dodgers were looking for starting pitching. Who knows, that might happen before the deadline tomorrow. 3-2 on the outside corner, strike 3 call. Beautiful pitch by Green to get Torrealba for the second out.
Well, nice pitch. When you throw from the side, that ball will come back over that outside corner. Nice job by Santos framing that ball on the outside corner. Caught a lot of the plate.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Carlos Gonzalez comes up to pinch hit for Franklin Morales. And I would imagine we'll see Rafael Betancourt in the 8th inning for the Rockies. Haven't been able to see into their bullpen. As Gonzalez takes a breaking ball for a strike.
What's nice here for Jerry Manuel's eyeballing this is the crossover for Green here. He's going to face a couple left-handers in this inning. Did a nice job against Stewart. Here starts Gonzalez with a first pitch slider.
And goes with the sinker and misses 1-1. Well, the Mets have gotten great pitching throughout this series, at one point reeling off 27 consecutive scoreless innings, their longest such streak in 5 years. If you're wondering, the club record scoreless streak is 42 innings. They did that down the stretch in 1969.
Wow.
That 42 inning stretch included the clincher, the 6-0 game on September 24th, 1969. Gary Gentry beating the Cardinals to clinch the National League East. Two-two, breaking ball misses and a full count. Lindsey Nelson said, at 9:07 on September 24th. The New York Mets are champions of the National League Eastern Division. 3-2. In there for a call, strike 3. What an inning for Sean Green. Gets a 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts looking. Mets at the top of the order in the bottom of the 8th. Carlos Gonzalez, who pinch hit, stays in the game in center. And the former Cleveland Indian, Rafael Betancourt, will try and set it up for the Rockies.
Well, he's only had a couple of games, but in his career, he has been outstanding at setup man when he was in Cleveland. Good overhand curveball, slider, and fastball for Betancourt. And Torrealba going over the signs.
Betancourt was in 29 games with the Indians this year, and he has been one of the valued setup men in all of baseball over the last few seasons. The 1 year in specific for Betancourt, 2 years ago in 2007, he was in 68 games. Listen to these numbers: 79 innings, 51 hits, 9 walks, and a 1.47 ERA.
Wow.
I mean, it just doesn't get much better than that. He struck out 80 in those 79 innings. Now 33 years old, Betancourt will face the top of the Mets batting order. Angel Pagan leads off. Pagan's hit the ball well all night. Double to lead off the first inning. In the bottom of the first inning, stole third, but then a base running blunder by Pagan cost the Mets a scoring chance in that first, as Castillo stole second. Pagan tried to score and was out easily in a rundown. Since then, he's twice fly deep to center. Looking to get aboard here to get the tying run to the plate in the bottom of the 8th. Castillo and Wright to follow. Pagan batting left-handed for the first time tonight. Betancourt, native of Venezuela. Frankie Rodriguez hoping for a save opportunity. Bobby Parnell up as well in the Mets bullpen. Frankie has not had a save chance since the All-Star break. But the Mets would have to rally and get him 3 runs to have that chance tonight. And Pagan swings, and it's another one to center field. Easy this time for Gonzalez. And that's the first out in the bottom of the 8th. Three straight times Pagan has flied out to center. So one away. Here's the new Papa, Luis Castillo. He and his wife Angie welcomed a daughter this morning. Castillo also has a son, Luis Jr. Luis 0 for 2 and a walk. A rare day without a base hit for Castillo. Looking to get aboard ahead of right. And he takes a strike from Betancourt.
Should love when these guys that come in who are setup men just pumping strike after strike.
And a fastball for a strike. And Betancourt ahead 0-2. Castillo's faced Betancourt before, 1 hit and 3 career at-bats. David Wright to follow.
This is where you're hoping for a bloop and a blast for the Mets.
Mets have been held to 4 hits in the second game, 3 doubles and a home run. Taken low. Change up for Betancourt, 1-2. Tomorrow night it's the Mets and the Diamondbacks with Livan Hernandez on the mound, coming off his victory in Houston his last time out.
Doug Davis, the left-hander, will be pitching for Arizona.
He's pitched well despite a 5-10 record. I guess the best way to put it is Doug Davis pitches tomorrow night if he's not traded before the game.
Yeah,
because he's certainly been the subject of plenty of that.
Yep.
Coverage begins 6:30 tomorrow night on SNY. Start of a 4-game series between the Mets and D-backs. Mets will also be going to Arizona on their next road trip. 2-2 to Castillo. Slaps one foul.
Trade deadline ends at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.
So all those wheelers and dealers have a little over 18 hours to figure out who to get. I guess people can stop calling the Pirates. They don't have any players left.
Yeah. They got a couple pitchers playing the outfield tonight.
I mean, would they trade Paul Mahala? That would be the guy you'd want, right?
Yes. Well, Duke.
Or Zach Duke,
yeah.
right? Again, the 2-2. And Castillo lines one to center, but it'll stay up for Gonzalez. 2 out. Gonzalez playing shallow. That was the right place to be.
How about Matt Capps? He'd be a guy you'd like too.
And there have been rumors surrounding Capps.
Yeah. He could either close for you, but I even think more important, he'd make a great setup man, wouldn't he?
Would bolster anybody's bullpen. So 2 out and nobody on for Wright. So Betancourt's retired the first 2. David Wright 1 for 3 tonight. Doubled, stole a base, scored a run in the 4th.
It says Holiday that the Red Sox and the Dodgers are offering prospects. I can't see the Blue Jays trading interdivision. Can you?
Well, it would be hard to imagine them trading to a team where they may have to face Holiday 5 or 6 times in a season.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were just a rental, no. But he's got, he's got next year. Right fouls it away.
In a weird way, if the Dodgers were able to get Holiday, with the addition of Sherrill and Holiday, that relieves some of the pressure on the bullpen because Roy Halladay always goes deep into games, completes a lot of games.
Bullpen saver.
Yeah.
The Red Sox are being linked to so many players in possible trade talks. Trying desperately to catch up with the Yankees. I mean, there's still rumors out there that they're trying to get Victor Martinez from the Indians. Boston won their game this afternoon. By the way, the Marlins got 2 in the 8th. Cody Ross a home run. They tied up the Braves 3-3 going to the 9th. Florida's been playing very well. 1-2 to David Wright. And he lines one into center. That'll fall for a base hit. And the Mets will get Jeff Francoeur to the plate as the tying run. So David Wright has his second hit of the game. David is 7 for 13 in this series.
What a season he's had, right? I mean, he has these gaps where he doesn't get a hit for 3, 4, 5 games, and then he'll go like the streak here, 7 for 13, blowing away, and that ball's middle. Lucky to get that one back was Betancourt. Nice single to center field, brings up Frank Gore with a chance to be the tying run. Nice swing, nice top hand.
Well, right now, there's nobody in this lineup you'd rather have up there in this spot than Frank Gore. He drove in a run with a sacrifice fly in the fourth that almost went out of the ballpark to right field. 0 for 2 otherwise. He swings and misses at a first pitch breaking ball.
Well, good counter here by Betancourt. Good slider down in the strike zone.
Going the other way, but Hop is there. Right on the warning track to grab it. So Frank Gore hits another ball solidly to the opposite field, but it results in the third out of the inning. On to the ninth. Rockies looking to salvage the finale of this series. TV, get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Corona, by Cadillac, by City, by Toyota, and by Smirnoff. Ninth inning, at the end of a long day of baseball. Mets won the opener today 7-0, trailed the nightcap 4-2. Bobby Parnell working for the second time today.
Both ends of the doubleheader work for Bobby Parnell. You see that ERA starting to come down.
Bobby worked a 1-2-3 eighth inning in Game 1, which was won by the Mets 7-0 behind some brilliant pitching from Johan Santana. Dexter Fowler will pinch hit for Betancourt, who's sitting in the number 1 spot in the batting order, leading off in the ninth. And Houston Street undoubtedly will be on to try and save it for the Rockies in the bottom of the ninth. Fowler started the first 3 games of this series, 3 for 13 with a couple of doubles.
Parnell has not given up a run in his last 9 in the third innings for the Mets.
And he starts Fowler off with a fastball in for a strike at 95. Well, Bobby seems to have bounced back from the rut that he was in. Well, the Mets have won 5 games in a row for the first time since early May. They haven't had a walk-off victory since May. They'll have to do it in that fashion if they're going to keep the winning streak going tonight. 1-2 to Fowler.
Well, good slider there from Bobby Parnell, completely confusing Mr. Fowler.
Clint Barmes and Todd Helton to follow here in the top of the ninth. And Fowler gets under one to center field. Pagan has it lined up. And there's one away.
Just watching Dexter Fowler there. Pretty much of a can of corn to center field, but the young man racing and hustling to second base just in case. You like to see that from young players.
So now Barmes has snapped a 1-1 tie in the 7th inning by crushing his second home run of this series, a 2-run shot. Just his second hit in his last 30 at bats, but a huge one against John Neese to give the Rockies their first lead of the night. Barmes now with 14 home runs for the season. One of the key moves that Jim Tracy made when he took over as manager of the Rockies was to make Barmes his everyday second baseman. And that pretty much forced Garrett Atkins out of the lineup as he and Stewart moved from second to third.
Isn't it funny how you can have a bench coach like Jim Tracy helping Clint Hurdle, and Clint gets fired, and his evaluation of certain players is different than the manager before. Barmes not getting a lot of playing time under Hurdle, but now a mainstay with Jim Tracy.
And of course, as the bench coach, you might be able to express your opinion in private meetings, but you can't say anything publicly.
Well, you don't have the scorecard in your hand. That's where all the weight goes, all the power is.
Parnell ahead 1-2, and Barmes fouls it back. John Neese went 6 1/3 tonight, allowed 4 runs and 8 hits, walked 4, struck out 3. Todd Helton out on deck. Brian Stokes worked 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit, and Sean Green worked a 1-2 3/8, looking terrific, striking out a couple. Again, the 1-2 fouled away. Here's the recap of game 1 today. Mets knocked out Jason Hammel in the 2nd inning, earliest exit for an opposing starter this year, as the Mets strung together 5 hits and wound up scoring 5 runs in that 2nd inning. Santana 7 scoreless. David Wright drove in a pair. Mets posted their 2nd consecutive shutout in this series. Rockies finally scored tonight in the 6th inning after 27 consecutive innings without a run.
Santana now 12-8.
And that ties him for the league lead in victories. Barmes holding his own, has fouled away 3 in a row. And another. We're in the bottom of the 9th now in Florida. Braves and Marlins tied 3-3. Florida trying to sweep that series. He struck him out. Parnell gets Barmes with the slider. First strikeout for Bobby, 2 out.
Good one here. Starts right down the middle, has so much break, ends up off the plate and away.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now Todd Helton, who singled to center and scored a run in the 7th inning, 1 for 4 on the day, 4 for 11 in this series. In the 9th inning, the Mets will have Tatis, Murphy, and Baroa due up against the Colorado closer Houston Street. Of course, the Rockies traded Matt Holliday to Oakland, and the prime player they got back in that deal was Houston Street, who has been absolutely marvelous this year. Parnell behind on Helton, 2-0.
Well, I think the biggest thing that happened for Parnell when he went through his struggles is that he became pretty predictable that he was going to throw his fastball 90% of the time. When he hit that wall, he worked on his breaking pitch, and now that's become a real strength for him, and that's why he's coming back the way he is.
Tap past the mound, Baroa to his left. And the side retired. So Parnell gets him out 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Mets trying to keep their winning streak intact, but they'll have to fight from behind, down 4-2. Highlights, exclusive interviews, Jerry's post-game reactions, all on Lincoln Mercury Post-Game Live. Those will recap a long day of baseball here at Citi Field. It's right after tonight's game and after all 162 Met games right here on SNY. Houston Street on to try and save it for the Rockies.
Well, he was outstanding with Oakland. Came over, of course, in that trade for Holiday, Matt Holiday, that Gary mentioned, and just 25 out of 26 saves, low ERA. Unusual kind of pitcher, kind of throws from the side, good sinker and slider.
He's not a big guy, but he has been very effective this year for the Rockies after, I don't want to say falling out of favor in Oakland, but just not as effective last year as he had been in the past. Of course, his dad was a great college quarterback at the University of Texas, James Street, but James Street was also a good pitcher, but hurt himself in the College World Series, and that's why he never played pro baseball or football. So Houston was born in Austin, Texas, went to the University of Texas, led them to a College World Series title, and he is one of the real tough closers in Major League Baseball. Fernando Tatis, last time up, got the Mets within 2 with his second home run in this series, and Tatis will lead off in the bottom of the ninth.
Well, Street's high in saves was in 2006 with the A's at 37 saves. Looks like he's going to rival that this season.
So here we go, last of the ninth. Tatis leading off and takes a slider for a strike, 0-1. It'll be Tatis, then Daniel Murphy, and Angel Baroa as the Mets try and break up Street's streak of 17 straight saves converted. The thing about Street that's been amazing is the number of 1, 2, 3 saves he's had this year. "16 of Street's saves. He has faced at least 3 batters and retired them all.
Wow.
That is low stress. Most in the major league, one more than Mariano Rivera. And Tatis watches just off the plate. 2-1. Daniel Murphy on deck. Baroa behind him, but the Mets have got left-hand hitters Sullivan and Cora on the bench. Corey Sullivan with the bat in his hand. Two and one to Tatis, and he takes a slider for a strike.
That didn't have to be a strike. It's that little slider that never really breaks. Called a strike by Dan Iasonia.
Now the 2-2 from Street. And he fouls it at the plate. Mets need a base runner any way they can get one to give themselves a chance. Houston Street now 25 years old, 26 now. Again, the 2-2. Slider fouled off.
See that motion by Fernando? He's saying, let the ball get a little deeper. He's out in front off his front foot. This game will make you talk to yourself sometimes.
Just don't talk too loud.
Or too long.
This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat from Street to Tatis. And they'll do it again. That's a lot of sweat for his first batter.
That's right. Fernando just swinging the bat much better. A little more confidence. He was right on that slider, just missed it. Tumbling of getting that grip by Street.
And again, Tatis able to stay alive. Now, what is that? I've never seen a pitcher fumble with his grip quite like that.
I know, it's just fumbling like he's trying to crack a safe, isn't he?
It looked like Lenny Dykstra's fingers on the bat. Pitch number 9 to Tatis. And another one. Now.
Torrealba's going to go out there and top the Street. He just continues to throw slider after slider. None have fooled Tatis so far. Stays in the at-bat.
Bob Apodaca and Jim Tracy running Street out there for the first time in this series. Rockies have lost 3 straight for the first time since early June and trying to put an end to that. Mets trying to stay alive here in the bottom of the 9th and keep their 5-game winning streak alive as well. Again, the 2-2 to Tatis. He struck him out. Finally, one more slider. Enough to get Tatis for the first out.
This one well placed, though. Torrealba wants it in the dirt. Gets it down and away. Nice push off from Houston Street and a good tight slider.
So Street wins a 10-pitch confrontation with Tatis. 1 out of the last of the 9th for Daniel Murphy, who's walked twice and flied to right. 0 for 1 tonight. 4 for 11 in this series. He takes a strike. Corey Sullivan has come out on deck to bat for Angel Baroa. Sullivan had a good first game today, playing against his old team. He wouldn't mind at all being the tying run at the plate.
There you go.
But first, Murphy's got to get on. Now he's down to the count 0-2. Tomorrow night, Levon Hernandez against Doug Davis. First game of the series with the Diamondbacks. Let's play the D-backs Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, and Monday night. And there's Levon coming off back-to-back good starts against the Nats and the Astros. 0-2 to Murphy. Little dribbler. In comes Stewart, makes the bare hand play, and he got him at first base. Terrific play by Ian Stewart, who was brought on for defense in the 7th inning for just that kind of play.
Well, he's playing awfully deep and makes the play we've seen David Wright make many times, but that accurate throw was the key. All 5 fingers on that grip, transfers it to his throwing grip, and just gets Murphy at first base.
So the Mets are down to their final out of the night, and Corey Sullivan will bat for Angel Baroa to try and keep it going. Sullivan had a single and a triple in the first game today, 2 for 4. He had started 5 straight games before this one, and trying to keep the Mets alive against his old team. He drives one into left center, and that'll fall for a base hit, and the Mets will get the tying run to bat here in the bottom of the ninth. A pinch hit single for Corey Sullivan, and that'll put it in the hands of Omir Santos. Now Santos knows all about hitting a home run with 2 out of the ninth against a tough closer. He did that against Jonathan Koppelbon in Boston, and now he'll go up against Houston Street, with the Mets holding no margin for error. Santos doubled down the right field line his last time up in the 7th. Tying run at the plate in a 4-2 game. Sullivan not being held on, so he takes off and takes second base unmolested. Defensive indifference. A strike to Santos. Frankie Rodriguez staying ready in case the Mets tie this and send it to the 10th inning. Jim Tracy looking a little nervous. And now Street ahead on Santos, 0-2. Street has thrown 16 pitches, 14 for strikes. He needs one more. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. So the Rockies gain a split of the day-night doubleheader, salvage the finale of the 4-game series, and snap the Mets' 5-game winning streak. Jorge De La Rosa, 6 1/3 for the win. Big home run by Clint Barmas, and the Rockies win it 4-2.
Well, Barmas with a big hit, the save, 26 save out of 27 chances for Houston Street, and the Mets go down.